Hi again. Thank you for coming over to the channel again. My name is Hiroki Kudo, for those who don't know. This is week 4. We're wrapping up week 4. Day 23 is today. This is a Saturday. It's April 15th. So last week we talked about we submitted an application.
Okay, I am submitting the application.
See, finish submitted.
Done.
Just to recap, what are we doing? We are a startup and we are in week 4. We are a team of 3. I will show you later in the video that we submitted to Y Combinator. We are working on a problem. We are trying to solve a problem. We believe that there are workers out there that really want to get a job but still are struggling, and there are managers who are trying to hire. We're trying to solve this situation, especially for entry-level jobs. So when we say entry levels, we're thinking of fast food chains, warehouse, logistic companies, construction companies, or basic like cleaning and traffic control. That sort of jobs are out there, and people want to do that, and people want to hire. But there seems to be some mismatch with that. We are trying to solve that. I'll be showing you what we submitted, what our video looked like. Also, we'll be talking about our progress. And also, I'm going to add how our confidence level is currently. So first thing, I want to show you what we submitted. So there's a bunch of questions in Y Combinator's application. Also, now they require 2 videos, one 1-minute video of the team and a 3-minute video of a demo. So since we didn't have a product, we kind of mocked it up. So we'll show you those videos. This is the first one, self-introduction of the team. We're going to have only a picture here, but as you can see, we are a 3-member team. From privacy issues, we have the face of the 3rd member. Let's call him Ted, maxed out. Thank you for our special 7-year-old artist who helped us map the face. We're introducing the members. From left, we have Josh, Ted, and myself, Hiroki. So on to the 3-minute demo video that we've prepared.
Hi, we're Job Growth. Remember the first job you got? Maybe it's a fast food chain or a grocery store nearby. Think of all the anxiety you had, whether I get an interview, whether the people like me. All those friction points are real. At Job Growth, we want to remove all those friction points for the worker and also for the manager.
The problem from the worker side. Let's talk about the daily life of the worker. You have a worker that is trying to find an entry-level job. He'll go on and prepare his resume, send it out to all those restaurants, shops, construction sites, whatnot. After 1 week, 2 weeks, no response. I actually applied myself and tested it out. With 5 job applications, only 1 responded within a week. It turns out a lot of places actually are not hiring when they have a job post. Now that you understand that this is going to take much more time than you expected, you're applying for a bunch of jobs. You keep lots of track because there's so many interactions while you're probably still working with that old job that you're trying to quit. So this is an entire mess for the applicant, for the worker side. Now, manager side, you suddenly know that you're 2 months away from the holiday season. You need to start hiring. You go on Indeed and you upload your job post, but then you get busy with your daily stuff. The equipment breaks down. There's one of the workers that is complaining about the assistant director. All that starts happening. And before you notice, it's already 1 week since you've touched Indeed last time. So these are the numbers that we got through a couple of interviews. Typically, if you post a job in Indeed, you get 80 to 100 applicants for 1 job post. All the 80 to 100, you respond to 30 applicants. You only get response for 5. You invite them all to interview, but only 3 show up. You give the offer to 2 people, but only 1 actually shows up at the job. So out of the 100, only 1. So this is a very uphill battle. This is tough. Now let's show what Job Growth actually does. By scanning the QR code, you can instantly access to the job form. You can change the language to your mother tongue and fill out the form. After sending the application, all communication will be done on text, the easiest way to communicate with each other. Through text, we will handhold them
AI will be telling the applicants to do exactly what they need to do next. As you can see, we've been interacting with the applicant, and now we set up the interview. The interview will be conducted through your smartphone. Easy and smooth. Now, congratulations, you got your job. But even after that, the hand-holding continues. We will text you exactly where you should park your car, etc., so that you don't get confused. Job Growth will continue to communicate with the workers to make them feel safe and needed. For managers, we can get loyal, engaging workers to you. With Job Growth, we help you move from hiring to inspiring.
So that was what we submitted. Now for the progress part. For this week, we've done altogether 6 interviews, mostly with managers. So I talked to a supermarket manager. I also did some phone interviews, Zoom interviews as well. So altogether, the total number of interviews we've conducted is 17 at the moment. And we've learned a lot through the process. We now know more about what the workers are struggling with and also what we understand about the managers. So the whole assumption that we started off, you can all go back to week 1, day 1. Okay, so one of the hypotheses that we had was that there'll be a lot of people looking for jobs and a lot of people hiring. Now it seems that there's a lot more people who want to work. So the hiring part, although there's some issues with how the process works and how we can streamline that, there's issues there, but it seems that it's not that big of a pain. That we found out, especially I think in Canada, and I believe that will probably hold in the US, but there's a lot of immigrants coming into Canada. So there's a lot of workforce. It's not like Japan where the working force is aging. So the supply and demand, there's a lot of supply, there's a lot of workers here. So hiring doesn't seem to be much a problem. There are minor things in Vancouver. For example, living expenses is getting higher. So for workers, they need to get more money. So a typical entry-level job might not pay for that. So there's an issue there, but in overall, there's abundant supply. So demand supply, it's not that people can't find the workers. It's the process that might have some issues. So that we've checked out. So it's not that people can't hire. And so we were looking into, okay, what can we do with the job boards? Also, is there an issue with the ATS? ATS stands for Application Tracking System. So there's a lot out there, such as Bamboo HR, etc. So there's a bunch of them out there. Usually they also have payroll or other functions attached to that. So ATS. Another area that we've looked into is, are there any needs for like gig work? So for gig work, we already have Uber Eats, we have Instacart. Those are independent services that already have found their niche and have grown. So are there any other areas that nobody has succeeded in to build their service around that? So there's an area about gig work, in-person gig work, should I say, that we could explore. Another area that we found, which was interesting, is about the communication. So the managers and the workers, they need to communicate through the application hiring process, but also for their day-to-day job. For example, let's say that somebody gets sick, you need to let other people know that there's a vacant shift available, and if anybody wants to fill that up, they can do so. So when somebody gets sick, the manager needs to start calling or emailing all the workers one by one. For some companies, there is a union, so there are some strict laws apply to which order and what format you need to communicate. So there seems to be, again, an assumption that managers have a communication. We have a compiled list of 26 services that are around, covering either ATS, job boards, gig work, and other related domains. One thing that we found was really interesting was that there's been a lot of attempts to work on the gig work, in-person gig work domain. So recently, even for Y Combinator, there's a project there's a startup called InstaWork that works exactly upon that. So hope them well. I hope that works out. But going back to TaskRabbit and all the other attempts, there's some applications and services in Canada as well, such as Work, WYRK. Also, there's Appy here, that's a Montreal company. So these are trying to do something similar to InstaWork. So we'll see how that goes. But becoming a platform, or maybe you could call it a job board, and there's a huge difference between those two as well. It's C2C or like B2C. But anyway, these attempts so far are, as how we see it, they're struggling. So the reason why I assume they're struggling is that when you want to hire somebody, you want to make sure that they are legit workers. And you want to have some evidence around that. People who hire, who are in this industry of looking for entry-level jobs, they'll try to assure the quality element through either introductions, or they would have a probation period where they will monitor the workers. So this sort of gig work on, okay, I'm just going to have this person work for 5 hours, 8 hours, then she's gone, doesn't really hold. There's just too much risk to that the companies will not probably be comfortable with it. Or if there's an industry that's desperately looking for workers, then that might be a case. The other thing that we were discussing within the team that was interesting is in Canada, because there's more insurance, there's more safety net, health insurance, social insurance, but in the US, no health insurance. So a lot of people, the worker side, they hesitate to become gig workers because there's no safety net. That's the same with Uber, Instacart. So people making off a living, if they just committed just for that, for Instacart or Uber Eats, whatnot, they become very vulnerable. So a lot of people would like to avoid falling into that category. They want to have their health benefits. So with those conditions combined, we believe that gig work, job board, or platform is a bit difficult. It seems that it holds in some regions, not in Canada and the US, but because the supply demand, again, there's just abundant supply, that this doesn't seem to work. So among the areas that I mentioned, we want to explore communication. We think that this will be an interesting area to look into. So right now, Josh, the CEO, is working on a very simple sort of mock-up we can show to the HR managers to see if they're interested in such a product. So next week, we'll be doing interviews to see if our assumptions are correct. If not, we'll have to scratch that or figure out like what was wrong. So that's progress with week 4. I hope my video's much better. I'm trying to improve it. I have a lot of filter words that I say, so I'm trying to avoid that. Also, like this lapel mark, lav mic kind of still falls forward. So if there's anything, advice that you have around this, let me know in the comment section. Any comments, any constructive advice, or if you have anything that we should know of, please write again in the comment section. Love to hear you. There's people who were interested in our project. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for reaching out. We really appreciate that. If there's anybody, if you are interested in our project, let us know. I have my Twitter, I have my LinkedIn account. Also, you can write it down on the comment section below. We'd like to hear from you. So that's all for today. See you next week. Bye.